The following is a video presentation of the Helena World in association with the Barton School District. Welcome to Barton Championship Volleyball, covering the 2022 Lady Bears volleyball team under the leadership of Coach Chaston Carpino. Barton Championship Basketball is brought to you by these fine sponsors: the Bell Clinic, specializing in family medicine for all of Phillips County. This webcast also brought to you courtesy of Reginald Murdoch for State Senate. Reggie Murdoch running for State Senate, District 9, with 12 years of public service working for you. Watch the exciting game action from Barton Gymnasium every week as the Lady Bears face the very best in high school volleyball competition in their quest for another state tournament appearance. And you are looking in on the Barton Gymnasium, where the Barton Lady Bears and the team from Ridgeland are matched up in a volleyball contest today. Right now we are checking in on junior high action, and later on we will have the senior teams. Right now pregame warm-ups are starting. I'm your host, Rick Kennedy, for another edition of Barton Championship Volleyball. And we will certainly have a challenging match today as the Lady Bears are up against one of the premier teams in all of the state of Arkansas. And this was a team that did very well in the playoffs last year. And I believe they were the top seed, this team from Ridgeland. But as we get ready for game action to start here momentarily, I'm your host, Rick Kennedy, again, and welcome. And we have two great sponsors bringing you this volleyball contest this afternoon. The Bell Clinic, providing family medicine for all of Phillips County. And we also have Reggie Murdoch, who is running for State Senate. He is currently a state representative. He is running for State Senate. So that's what we have up. And we will take a quick break to listen to our commercial sponsors. And we'll be right back with Barton Championship Volleyball. Barton Championship Volleyball is brought to you by these fine sponsors: the Bell Clinic, specializing in family medicine for all of Phillips County. This webcast also brought to you courtesy of Reginald Murdoch for State Senate. Reggie Murdoch running for State Senate, District 9, with 12 years of public service working for you. The Helena World's presentation of Barton Championship Volleyball is brought to you by these fine sponsors: the Bell Clinic, specializing in family medicine for all of Phillips County. This webcast also brought to you courtesy of Reginald Murdoch for State Senate. Reggie Murdoch running for State Senate, District 9, with 12 years of public service working for you. The Helena World's presentation of Barton Championship Volleyball is brought to you by these fine sponsors: the Bell Clinic, specializing in family medicine for all of Phillips County. This webcast also brought to you courtesy of Reginald Murdoch for State Senate. Reggie Murdoch running for State Senate, District 9, with 12 years of public service working for you. And we are back at the Barton Gymnasium, where we still have both teams in their warm-up sessions for Barton Championship Volleyball. Barton is playing Ridgeland today. And the last time we saw this Ridgeland team was at the district tournament, which was held here about 1 year ago. And Ridgeland was a finalist in that tournament and has traditionally had strong teams. Barton, of course, made a surprise appearance last year in the state tournament. They're looking to repeat. And there is the referee's whistle in the background in case you did not hear it, but we're getting ready for play to start momentarily. Now, we weren't given much of an advance on this game, so I am trying to determine the uniform configurations, but as I think it stands, I believe Ridgeland is in the all-white jerseys with the black shorts, and that would assume that Barton is in the maroon jerseys, the maroon shorts, and the black trim. And I believe that's what we have going on here in this contest. Barton is led by Coach Chaston Carpino, who has done a remarkable job in turning around this team. They defeated Palestine Wheatley last time we saw them here, and that was last week. Whether they can do the same to Ridgeland or not remains to be seen. This is really a top-notch program Ridgeland has. But Coach Carpino, in the games we've seen this season, has had her team at least competitive. They're setting up their plays a whole lot better than they did the year before. And, of course, we saw them last year as well in the district tournament, which we had on live stream. This particular game is going over Facebook Live and on replay on YouTube. So a little bit after the fact, we do not have our internet facilities here today at Barton. But again, we will bring you the action, and of course, you can replay it time and time again, either on Facebook Live or on YouTube. So we thank you for however you're viewing us. And the teams are still warming up. I'm not entirely sure why we got this extended warm-up period. Normally game time, well, for junior high teams, normally the game time starts at 4:30, and the senior teams start after that. It's 5 minutes to 5 right now, so I'm not entirely sure if this is a late starting game or they're starting early on the senior high team. And we apologize for not having the correct information with us at the broadcast position. We hope along the way that we can get some information as time goes on. Right now, though, we have teams that are still in a warm-up mode. I have to believe that these are the senior high teams, though. The junior high teams, I think, would have already warmed up and seemed like they were playing a game as we were coming on. So I have to believe this is possibly the senior high team at this point. And if the senior highs are still warming up, they're getting ready for action. Now, the official game clock that I am looking at from the broadcast position says we have 5 minutes before game time, so we will see what happens with that. We do have our remote camera up at the highest part of center court, little off center court today. I guess there's some seating arrangement or something we weren't aware of, so we're slightly off center from the view that I'm looking at on camera and that you're seeing on your screens. And what you see on your screen is the same thing I see on my screen. So, like I said, we've had a bit of a warm-up session here. We hope that pretty soon we'll see action. And again, according to the game clock now, it looks like it's 4 minutes, and I do hear an official's whistle. And the teams do seem to be assembling to their respective sides. So even though we didn't get much in the way of a roster, what I seem to see with my own eyes here is that Barton is in the maroon uniforms with the black and white trim. Ridgeland is in the white uniforms with the black shorts. And that appears to be what we're going to start with here for this set of matches. Now, I will note, interestingly, you're looking at the net at center court. There seems to be no official yet at center court in the main official's seated position, which is elevated right there where the net is. And there goes a volleyball flying in the stands near our camera position, which is separate from where I'm sitting here in the broadcast position. But right there, the camera is pointed directly on the center court net, and as you see, no official has reported yet. And maybe that's the delay we're having here. They're waiting on an official. We have quite a few volleyballs bouncing around us here still in the broadcast position. But no official yet, and possibly that was a coach's whistle we heard earlier instead of the official's whistle, because there, again, appears to be no official seated yet. So maybe, again, that's why we're waiting, or what we're sitting around for. I'm not entirely sure to what the delay is. What we do know, though, is Barton does come in here with a winning record. And we saw them win last week against Palestine Wheatley. Ridgeland is always strong, and they're in here, I believe, with a winning record as well. And a ball just did bounce next to us at the broadcast position. And as before, we have taken extra precautions that our broadcast position doesn't get compromised. You might remember our opening night, a couple of balls and a volleyball person ran into us directly here at the broadcast position on the floor and knocked out one of our cameras for a period of time. We do appear to be good now. And again, this warm-up period is still going on. As another programming reminder, if you catch this later on Thursday night, or you catch it sometime Friday, the Friday night we will have, of course, our live cast of DeSoto Thunderbird football. And we have not seen DeSoto in a couple weeks, but they have kind of split the difference in the games. They lost to Tunica Academy. They defeated Marvel Academy. They will come into Friday night's action with a 3-2 record, and they are playing, I believe it's Columbus Academy. As again, we We have quite a few volleyballs in the vicinity of our broadcast position, and we have a young lady picking them up for us, thank goodness. But the Helena World presenting you all kinds of sports and live stream events, and this is one of the many. Last year we were privileged to bring you we did have a volleyball actually kind of hit us that time, but not hard. And again, we came prepared, reinforcing our equipment. Well, now there's the official buzzer from the official time clock. So we got at least one official in the building there at the time clock position. We are still awaiting an official in the official's chair, and perhaps that person is coming about now. Okay, so there we do have an official in the house for this contest. And as I alluded to earlier, we did have the privilege of bringing you Barton Championship basketball, and we hope to bring you the basketball games again, and they happen right here in this very same venue. And the teams are meeting at midcourt, and presumably we're going to have some action here momentarily. For those of you who don't know, we're coming live from the Barton Gymnasium. I'm your host, Rick Kennedy, for the Helena World Series of Volleyball webcast. And today we have Barton against Ridgeland. The official is now pointing toward Ridgeland, so I presume we will get the official serve from them, and we will be on the way. Ridgeland, as we noted last year, was a district championship finalist. And they have had traditionally strong teams. And they start off with the early lead, befitting a strong team. So it's 1-0. Two to nothing, Ridgeland, as we get an early start on our volleyball action. Three to nothing, Ridgeland. This is a very good team with a very deep program, a deep bench. This is one of those teams, and I know it sounds cliche to say, this is a team that reloads, doesn't rebuild, reloads. Because they've got star quality across all of their platforms. Barton does score for the first time, though. They are in a bit of a hole, 1-4. Four to 2 now, the Barton Bears trying to catch up. There's a whistle. And the official signals in favor of Ridgeland, so 5-2. 6-2. Okay, the official signaled the other way, so it's 5-3. Okay, now it's 6-3. I believe the official either confused myself or the scoreboard operator, or perhaps both of us. There just seemed to be a delay. Okay, now the official has signaled for Barton, so it's 4-6. And Barton making a mini comeback here. 6-5. Lady Bears. Tie game now at 6-6. And Ridgeland has reassumed the lead. It's 7-6 now. This is an early contest, and we were not advised here that whether this was junior high or senior high action. Still trying to determine that at this point. But it's turned into a tight contest. It's 7-7. Coach Carpino certainly has Barton up to the task of meeting this traditional volleyball powerhouse. Score is tied 8-8. This has been a very competitive contest in the early going. Nine to 8. We appear to have some sort of a timeout or break here. Okay, there we go. Now we're back to action, and the score is now tied 9-9. Ridgeland is serving. Okay, the score stands at 10-9 in favor of Ridgeland over the Barton Lady Bears. And now we do actually have a timeout as both teams have cleared the court. A young man sitting behind me here said something about we're going to win. Well, they need to catch up. They're a point behind, and Ridgeland is serving. We have roughly 100 fans in the Barton Gymnasium right now. And 11-9 game. Make that 12-9 in favor of Ridgeland. Ridgeland about to serve again. Thirteen to 9. And the Barton Lady Bears win that point, 13 to 10. As they control the serve now, they need to take advantage of this opportunity to try to catch up. Thirteen to 11 now. Barton now has pulled within 1 point. 13 to 12. And we have an unexpected tie. The Bears have come back, though. It's 13 to 13. 14 to 13, and for the first time, the Lady Bears have the lead. $15 to 13. $16 to 14. The Barton Lady Bears have the lead in this one. The ball flying out of bounds there, but they award the point to Barton. 17-14, the Lady Bears. $18 to 14, and the Lady Bears on the verge of I would say, an upset here. And as I say that, Ridgeland scores the point, so Ridgeland has control of the serve now. And And the Bears score again on the loss of serve, 19-15. To 16. The referee signaled that point for Ridgeland. They are serving now. (19-17). And perhaps I spoke too soon about Barton being moments away from victory. The game tightening up. There's the serve. Score now stands at 20-17 in favor of the Barton Lady Bears. Referee scores that point to Ridgeland. Makes it 20-18. This has been a tight game all the way. Okay, and now she scores that point to the Barton Lady Bears. It's 21-18. Can the ladies close this one out? Well, apparently the referee signaled that out of bounds, so it's 21-19. Ridgeland sending it across. And that one flies out of bounds. 22-19. Okay, now the clock changes and they say it's 23-19. (24-19), and I believe the Lady Bears are serving for this match. And there appears to be some sort of timeout. Looks like a 30-second timeout. Lady Bears can score this next point. They will win this game. And we will try to get a game count for you during the break. Right now, though, it's 24-20, so Ridgeland's going to have one more shot here. (24-21). Ridgeland has got a little ways to go, though. And it would appear that the Barton Lady Bears have won this contest 25-21. And we will take a break in between games to hear from our commercial sponsors.
Helena World's presentation of Barton Championship Volleyball is brought to you by these fine sponsors. the Bell Clinic, specializing in family medicine for all of Phillips County. This webcast also brought to you courtesy of Reginald Murdoch for State Senate. Reggie Murdoch running for State Senate, District 9, with 12 years of public service working for you.
Okay, we're back with Barton Championship Volleyball. And during the commercial break, there was a little bit of a discussion, and then they came out and played another point. It is now 24-23, and the game that we alluded to as perhaps being won by Barton was not won by Barton. They took a point off and resumed play at 24-22. It is now 24-21, 24-23, pardon me, and Ridgeland is serving. And now we have a tie. And Ridgeland has somewhat completed the comeback here. Must win by 2, though. (25 to 24). My goodness. This has been a heck of a comeback effort. Barton needs to regroup. So to rehash, Barton had 25 points a few minutes ago. We went to commercial break. The referee took off the 25, made it 24-22. Right now, it's 25-25. So we're deadlocked again between these two teams. And the first game that we were describing continues. So again, let me clear up any confusion that we had from earlier. It's now Barton 26-25. So now we have Barton serving for the game again. Can they put it away this time? (26-26), and the everlasting game continues. (27-26). See if Barton can put this one away. Okay, the clock says 28-26. And the referee is finally stepping down from the table, so that game is completed. Barton did win after all, after kind of a bizarre set of events. And in fact, the referee is walking over to the scores table to have a discussion, I'm sure. There was a bit of confusion at the end of that particular game, so on that point, perhaps the referee is trying to clear some issues up. But we'll take another commercial break. This is Rick Kennedy for Barton Championship Volleyball.
World's presentation of Barton Championship Volleyball is brought to you by these fine sponsors. The Bell Clinic, specializing in family medicine for all of Phillips County. This webcast also brought to you courtesy of Reginald Murdoch for State Senate. Reggie Murdoch running for State Senate, District 9, with 12 years of public service working for you. The Helena World's presentation of Barton Championship Volleyball is brought to you by these fine sponsors. The Bell Clinic, specializing in family medicine for all of Phillips County. This webcast also brought to you courtesy of Reginald Murdoch for State Senate. Reggie Murdoch running for State Senate, District 9, with 12 years of public service working for you.
Okay, we have our official back in her official's position, and there is the buzzer. And we're going to move forward now with additional action. We have the Barton Lady Bears serving. They're in the maroon jerseys with the black trim. They're playing Ridgeland, who is wearing white jerseys with black pants. And Barton takes the early 1-0 lead. And we seem to have a few more people coming into the Barton Gymnasium. Always good to have a big crowd. Score stands at 3-0 in favor of Barton. Okay, and again the scoreboard official, or the scoreboard has changed. It's 2-1 with Ridgeland serving. And it just as quickly as 3-1. So both the scoreboard operator and I are trying to keep up with the action here. Four to 1 now. Favor of the Barton Lady Bears. Five to 1 now. Not quite sure what the delay of the action there was. And the ball evidently flew into the stands. And let's see, the referee is going to have Barton serve again. Score stands at 6-2 in favor of the Barton Bears. But on that point, it looks like they're awarding it to the Ridgeland team, who is going to serve. Six to 3 now. And these have been, the two games we've had thus far have been very competitive games. 6-3. Referee is signaling toward Ridgeland again, so apparently they will serve. The young lady gets control of the ball. Okay. And there we go. Seven to 4 now. Lots of action there, but the point awarded to Barton. It's 8-4. We're coming to you from the Barton Gymnasium. It's 9-4. Ten to 4. Official awards that point to Barton. It is 11-4 in favor of the Barton Lady Bears. Oh, now the official says it's 11-5, and they've given the serve to Ridgeland. Not quite sure why there was a delay there, but like so many things, sometimes the junior high games are, the high school games too, are somewhat imperfect. We do try to follow the scoreboard, and we all try to keep up. So right now it's 12-6. And this is about as big a lead as Barton has had in any of these games thus far. Twelve to 7. Well, the referee, I figured if it was 12 to 7, they would have awarded the ball to Ridgeland, but it looks like Barton served that one. Well, now the referee is signaling Ridgeland's ball, but it's 13 to 7. So again, maybe our clock operator hasn't caught up to what's going on the actual court. 14 to 7 now. Barton. (14 to 8). And Ridgeland preparing to serve. 15-8. Lady Bears. Fifteen to 10 now. Barton serving up. And Barton scores the point. Now 16. 16-8 or 16-10. Now 16-11. Again, our scoreboard operator is not always reflecting what we're seeing on the court. 16-12 though, and I think the operator has caught up, and Ridgeland is serving now. Score stands at 17-12. $18-12. Can Barton put this one away? Now, this is about where they were in the last game. And that one flies astray. Makes it 19-12. And there is a whistle, and I suppose at this point we'll take a break. Barton is winning, as far as I can tell, 19-12. This is the second game that we've seen so far. We have not determined yet whether it's a junior high game or a senior game, but this is the second game, and Barton is winning this one. And they also won the last one kind of after a bit of an overtime period. 28-26. We had believed they had won it earlier than that, and the official took the point off the board and they let them continue playing. But now it's 19-13, 19-14, and here comes Ridgeland with another comeback. This is a good team. $20-14 now. But again, don't be fooled and don't feel like Barton quite has it yet. We saw that in the last game, and we saw a furious comeback from Ridgeland. 20-15 now. They're trying to keep it close now. $20-16, and here we go again. Ridgeland just keeps inching their way back. Barton scores that point, 21-16. But they got to get to 25, and they got to do it soon. Because you keep giving this Ridgeland team chances, they will come back. As they just scored that point, so it's 21-17 now. It's now 21-19, and we're seeing almost an exact replay of what we saw in the previous game. (21-20). The Ridgeland comeback is nearly completed. And we saw this before in the last game. Barton appeared to have it won. Ridgeland made their way back. We had the kind of the bizarre deal where the point was taken off the board. They continued playing. Barton eventually emerged in that one, 28-26. Right now, it's a 21-20 game. These two teams have just fought evenly. And my goodness, you can't get much more even than this. Okay, it's 22-20. Now the trick again will be, can Barton finally put this one away? Either without surrendering another serve to Ridgeland or without going into extra points again. 23-20. There are numerous cheers coming from the Barton bench. 24-20. Now this is where it stood last time. Let's see if Barton can put away this final point. Well, that ball is called out, so here we go again. It's 24-21. And this is where Ridgeland made their big push. Okay, 25-10. Barton is declared the winner of this one. And they defeated a very fine Ridgeland team. So we will take a break, and then we will check back and see what games and what teams we have coming up next.
A Helena World's presentation of Barton Championship Volleyball is brought to you by these fine sponsors. The Bell Clinic, specializing in family medicine for all of Phillips County. This webcast also brought to you courtesy of Reginald Murdoch for State Senate. Reggie Murdoch running for State Senate, District 9, with 12 years of public service working for you. A Helena World's presentation of Barton Championship Volleyball is brought to you by these fine sponsors. The Bell Clinic, specializing in family medicine for all of Phillips County. This webcast also brought to you courtesy of Reginald Murdoch for State Senate. Reggie Murdoch running for State Senate, District 9, with 12 years of public service working for you. A Helena World's presentation of Barton Championship Volleyball is brought to you by these fine sponsors. The Bell Clinic, specializing in family medicine for all of Phillips County. This webcast also brought to you courtesy of Reginald Murdoch for State Senate. Reggie Murdoch running for State Senate, District 9, with 12 years of public service working for you. A Helena World's presentation of Barton Championship Volleyball is brought to you by these fine sponsors. The Bell Clinic, specializing in family medicine for all of Phillips County. This webcast also brought to you courtesy of Reginald Murdoch for State Senate. Reggie Murdoch running for State Senate, District 9, with 12 years of public service working for you.
And we are back at the Barton Gymnasium. And what I was advised a few minutes ago was we saw junior high action is what we watched earlier. And now we are moving on to senior high action. And the two teams we saw, Barton won both games 28-26. And here comes a ball at our broadcast position. 28-26 and 25-21, both very close and competitive games, but both won by the Barton Lady Bears. And to their credit, they defeated what has traditionally been a fine team from Ridgeland. Now, of course, that was a junior high contest, so obviously we'll be seeing the big girls up next. But I would say that Barton making that kind of showing was most impressive, and definitely shows that Barton has arrived as a bit of a powerhouse, but they're emerging in the volleyball ranks. If you consider that the junior high victories are reflective of teams that will be the high school in the next couple of years, Barton's got a promising future. And if they can hold these girls together, they could have a string of successful teams at both the local and state level. And my goodness, that would be a big feather in their cap. While we got a minute in the programming notes, let's note that next Thursday we will also be here with more Barton Championship Volleyball. Barton will be playing Cedar Ridge. And again, we will have that on the live stream, and if not on the actual real time, we will certainly do a replay for you and have that up on Facebook Live and have that up on our YouTube channel. Right now we have both teams kind of going through a warm-up. And we've got actually quite a few minutes before they start action. Looks like about 8 minutes. So we will take another quick commercial break and thank our sponsors. And they're very great to sponsor this. That would be the Bell Clinic and State Senator Reggie Murdoch. We'll hear from them again, and then we'll be back with more Barton Championship Volleyball.
Of Barton Championship Volleyball is brought to you by these fine sponsors. The Bell Clinic, specializing in family medicine for all of Phillips County. This webcast also brought to you courtesy of Reginald Murdoch for State Senate. Reggie Murdoch running for State Senate, District 9, with 12 years of public service working for you. The Helena World's presentation of Barton Championship Volleyball is brought to you by these fine sponsors. The Bell Clinic, specializing in family medicine for all of Phillips County. This webcast also brought to you courtesy of Reginald Murdoch for State Senate. Reggie Murdoch running for State Senate, District 9, with 12 years of public service working for you.
As we move on to these senior contests, it would appear that Ridgeland's senior team is going to be wearing black jerseys, black tops, and black shorts with white trim. And I'm going to presume, as Barton usually does, they'll be wearing maroon jerseys with black trim. It's actually black trim along with white numbers, but anyway, that appears to be what the two team setup is. So Ridgeland will be in black jerseys with black pants. Barton will be in maroon jerseys with maroon pants. Barton will kind of have black trim along with white numbers. And Ridgeland will have white trim with white numbers as we resume action. And we hope that the timekeeper, which we rely on our scores, you can slightly see the time clock kind of in your upper left-hand side. We hope that they can obviously keep up with the action and the proper scoring, because that's what we report to you on this end. And, of course, it can be challenging at times, particularly in the junior high game. That seems to be where some of the scoring challenges occur. Now, there is a whistle, but I believe that's a coach's whistle. I don't believe that's anything official. As you can tell, looking at the center court net, there is no referee or official in the position up there. And we just had another volleyball fly past us here at the broadcast position. This Ridgeland team, and now we're talking about the high school girls, they have traditionally been a very, very good team in the realm of volleyball. They were a district finalist last year. As I recall, they played the Midland Mustangs in the final. And I believe, if I recall correctly, they defeated Midland. So they could have been the district champs last year. But they, Midland, and Barton did all three go on to the state tournament last year. So these are two very, very good teams. And this will be a very good test for Coach Carpino's Barton Lady Bears, because they will certainly be tested. But Coach Carpino's got a good team on our own, though. Now, last time we saw them in senior high action was last Thursday. This is Thursday, September 22nd, by the way. We saw them last Tuesday. They were playing Palestine Wheatley, and they defeated Palestine Wheatley. So we will see how they fare this week. Next week, we'll also be back in the Barton Gymnasium. We have Cedar Ridge coming to town to play the Lady Bears. And we will carry the action for you one way or the other, either on the actual live stream or the replay, but you will get to see the action. And we appreciate you joining us on the Helena World channels, however you're watching this. If you're watching it on the Facebook Live or you're watching it on the YouTube channel, either way, we appreciate you watching, and we hope you're enjoying the action from the Barton Gymnasium. Teams are still warming up, so we will go to. We'll go ahead and take a commercial break. We'll go to our commercial sponsors. That would be the Bell Family Clinic, providing health care to all of Phillips County. Of course, a very fine clinic located in Helena. And then also State Senator Reggie Murdoch will go to them and then come back for the beginning of varsity volleyball action.
Of Barton Championship Volleyball is brought to you by these fine sponsors. The Bell Clinic, specializing in family medicine for all of Phillips County. This webcast also brought to you courtesy of Reginald Murdoch for State Senate. Reggie Murdoch running for State Senate, District 9, with 12 years of public service working for you. The Helena World's presentation of Barton Championship Volleyball is brought to you by these fine sponsors. The Bell Clinic, specializing in family medicine for all of Phillips County. This webcast also brought to you courtesy of Reginald Murdoch for State Senate. Reggie Murdoch running for State Senate, District 9, with 12 years of public service working for you. The Helena World's
And you are looking at the Barton Gymnasium. I'm your host, Rick Kennedy, bringing you this live cast for the Helena World. A number of events and special features we're presenting on our social media and our YouTube channel. I was told during the break that the reason we were running a bit late with those previous games, I was told that the official was actually late arriving to the venue. And it's a little bit interesting here now. We've got a new official on the center line, and the woman who was on the center line in the previous games we saw is at the scorer's table. And you might recall that we had some issues with the scoring, particularly at the end of the first game, where Barton appeared to have it won, and they took the point off. They continued playing. Barton did eventually win, but we had some issues there. But now here we are again, and the women are lining up for play. And we have the Ridgeland team. Again, they are in the black jerseys with the white trim. Barton is in the maroon jerseys with the white numbers and kind of the black trim as well that they have there. And we're ready to go with high school volleyball action. And this is the main high school teams. So if I presume this team is following the order, and again, we have a new official at center court as well. Apparently she switched positions with the lady that was there earlier. And they're going to have Ridgeland serve the ball first, so here we go. And Ridgeland takes the early lead, 1-0. But that type of long volley is what we can expect from these two teams. These were two state playoff teams from 1 year ago. Ridgeland certainly looks as solid as ever. And we expect Barton to be solid, so they are. Well, right now the ball flies out of bounds. I was going to say they're putting on a show, but certainly not going to put on a show with the ball flying out of bounds. Two to nothing now. Again, another long volley. And it's 2-1. Barton scores its first point of the game. And they will control the serve. Two to two now. And Barton making its first statement. Again, these are two teams that were in the state tournament 1 year ago. So you're looking at two of the state's finest, and again, they are doing a very good job here. Both teams. And that's reflected in the 3-2 score we have now. We've got roughly 100 people in the Barton Gymnasium for this contest. Ridgeland serving. Five to two. And Ridgeland, for the first time, asserting themselves. And the ball flings out of bounds there. Referee called that point in favor of Barton. 5-5. We got a tie game. But this is exactly what we would expect between two playoff teams from a year ago. And I would add two state playoff teams. Right now, though, Ridgeland has a 6-5 lead. But make no mistake about it, these are two very good teams we have playing here. Ridgeland now, 7-5 advantage. And our broadcast position kind of took a jolt again. But unlike last time, we have somewhat reinforced things, and our cameras are still running, and that's the important thing. Eight to 6, so Barton hanging around. Coach Carpino has been building a powerhouse here. And a game in against another powerhouse such as this is certainly a good test for her team. They're going to know exactly where they stand a little bit later in October during the state tournament. Now, I'm using a noise-canceling mic, which cuts out the outside noises other than my voice. But in case you can't hear it, there's a lot of chatter out there on the court, a lot of communication, a lot of people talking to each other as they set up their shots. So don't believe that there's total silence going on out there. There's a lot of talking. And we've got about 100 people in the gymnasium right now, so you can kind of hear most of what's being said out there on the court. Barton ready to serve. And the scoreboard is now reading 8-10 in favor of Ridgeland. And Barton scores that point, so it's 9-10. See if Barton can tie this game up now. And as you probably heard the cheer there a minute ago, that ball did go into the net. It's now 11-9 in favor of Ridgeland. Barton, though, holding its own. Hey, score now stands at 12-9. (13-9) on a big serve there. And Ridgeland is trying to reassert themselves. 14-9. There's a little bit of separation now, and this would be a good time for Barton to get the serve back and try to make their run. Well, that score goes to Ridgeland, 15-9. And now Ridgeland creating a little bit of separation between themselves and the Lady Bears. Barton scores that one. I guess they heard what we had to say over here and decided to score. Now they need to capitalize on their opportunity. Close the gap here in the points. Well, that appeared to be a bit of a lapse. But they made for it on that one, that's for sure. Now the score says it's 16-11. I presume the point was awarded to the Ridgeland team. They're serving. Well, not sure what happened to the point there. It's 16-12 though. That one was awarded to Barton. So Barton is closing the gap somewhat here. 16-12. Can Barton close in some more? And the ball kind of flung past us at the broadcast position here. The referee awarded the point to Ridgeland, and they will serve, so we'll see what happens here. 17-12 is what the scoreboard says. Now 18-12. And again, Ridgeland is kind of creating that separation, and my goodness, the Lady Bears could use some help right now. Well, they got a little bit of help. They got a point, 13-18. Now, can they close this 5-point gap, which they've been unable to do? Again, some outstanding action, and the point is awarded to Barton. Okay, it's 18-15 now. And Barton is making their run. Okay, 19-15. Ridgeland has reassumed control. And we have a couple of policemen making their way through the Barton Gymnasium again. We seem to see that from time to time. And I guess I should ask if there's been added security or what's different. I don't remember these policemen last year. They are around this year. 1917, though, Barton Lady Bears serving. It's 18-19, and Barton is closing the gap. And in fact, I believe we have a timeout called at this point. And we have, seems to be a referee conference going on at center court. Now, the lady that walked over on the ground, as we're looking at the screen here, she was the referee for those first set of games. And she and the current referee kind of exchanged places. And you see the lady went back to the scorer's table. And now she's coming back to the center court for a moment. Of course, we don't have an official explanation for this, but they appear to be having some sort of an official's timeout. Two teams, though, are coming back on the floor, so it's 19-18. This is another close game between Barton and Ridgeland, but but this is the high school game. Let me make sure that's clear. And it's a 19-19 tie. So all of these games have been very close. (20-19) now, Barton. It's 21-19, and the Lady Bears are on the edge again. And they made a most impressive comeback. They were down in this game as much as 6 points. It's now 21-19 in favor of the Lady Bears. And the ball kind of careens over here near the broadcast position again. In fact, the policeman we referred to earlier, he actually got the ball, returned it back to play. We have a couple of the junior high ladies walk past us here. And right now, some volleys continue. And we have a tie game now, 21-21. And this was typical of what we saw in that junior high game earlier as well, though. These have become two very evenly matched teams. (22-21). Ridgeland ready to serve again. Lady Bears win that point, 22-22. And it's starting to look like this one is going to go right down to the wire, just as those junior high contests did earlier. 23-22. The Lady Bears, can they score 2 more points and put this one to bed? Well, they got one. 24-22. And the Lady Bears of Barton win this game 25-22. And we have a break in the action, so we'll hear from our commercial sponsors and be back with more Barton Championship Volleyball.
Of Barton Championship Volleyball is brought to you by these fine sponsors. The Bell Clinic, specializing in family medicine for all of Phillips County. This webcast also brought to you courtesy of Reginald Murdoch for State Senate. Reggie Murdoch running for State Senate, District 9, with 12 years of public service working for you. The Helena World's presentation of Barton Championship Volleyball is brought to you by these fine sponsors. The Bell Clinic, specializing in family medicine for all of Phillips County. This webcast also brought to you courtesy of Reginald Murdoch for State Senate. Reggie Murdoch running for State Senate, District 9, with 12 years of public service working for you.
We have seen several, in fact, all of the contests we've seen have been highly competitive. And Barton has won all of them, which has been, I guess, to me, mildly surprising. But both of these teams are very good programs with very good women athletes. Now there's our official signaling it's time for action. But I only see one team out on the court at this point, the Barton Lady Bears. So, and okay, Ridgeland now is returning to the court. I would think we would have a serve momentarily, and I believe Barton will serve to start this particular game. Both of these teams a year ago made the state tournament. Ridgeland was in fact the district champion. Barton, as I recall, played in a consolation game. They were beaten by Midland. So Ridgeland and Midland met in the championship, the district championship. But Barton played in the third place game, and Barton did earn an invitation to the state tournament last year. And of course, Ridgeland, as the district champion, earned a state championship, or earned a state title appearance anyway. So we have two very, very good teams here. And granted, the score is 1-1, by the way, in this current game. Scoreboard still says 1-1, but I believe it's really 2-1. Okay, they have caught up with us now, so now it's 3-1 in favor of Ridgeland, and Ridgeland will be serving again. And we've seen this before where Ridgeland has gotten off to a fast start. Barton has proven to be very resilient, though. 4-1. Of course, I guess we don't want them to have to come from 6 points behind again. But all these games have been entertaining. They've been competitive. And maybe you would expect that from two state tournament teams. And granted, we can understand that these teams did graduate some seniors from last year's team, but for the most part, they brought back the same teams they had last year, though. In fact, I think Barton only graduated 2 seniors from last year's team, and everybody else was coming back. Of course, now everybody is a senior or a junior, so this is the time for them to rise, though, and Coach Carpino certainly has them on the rise. Right now in this game, though, it's 8-1, and the Lady Bears are digging a bit of a hole for themselves here. Either that or Ridgeland has really woken up after losing that other game. Ten to 1, and my goodness, Ridgeland is certainly taking this game by storm. And I believe there's been a timeout called. I see both teams are off the court at this moment, and that might not be a bad idea for Barton to regroup. They have fallen behind in a couple of these games, but not this far behind. And Ridgeland appears to really be asserting themselves here now. Save for the first time, but certainly they are certainly coming around now, that's for darn sure. $11 to 1. This game has been, well, frankly, this game has been a superior effort from Ridgeland this time. Maybe the fact that Barton beat them the first game has woken them up. Well, if you heard the roar there, that was the Barton faithful cheering. They finally got a point. It's 11 to 2. They have a big hole to dig. And they do get another point. And I guess they got to do it 1 point at a time the hard way, but it's 11 to 3 now. Well, the referee awarded that point to Ridgeland, so it's 12 to 3. Well, Barton scores that point. They're hanging around, but they really need to close that gap. 12 to 4 in favor of Ridgeland. as Barton apparently serves it into the net. It's 13-4. And there appears to be a delay in the action. Okay, now we have the young lady with the ball. Well, the referee just awarded that point to Barton, so it's 13-5. Barton's still got a big hole to dig out of, though. Fourteen to 6 is our score here. This is game 2 between the high school teams. We have seen some good teams here with some quality action. Say the referee scores that point to Barton again. Well, no, it's 15 to 6, so I guess they awarded the point to Ridgeland. That point awarded to Barton. 15 to 7. Teams are just kind of trading points back and forth right now. And what Barton needs to do is to be able to string together a string of points. They got to work on that deficit. But that's not going to help them. It's 16 to 7 now. Also gives the serve back to Ridgeland. Okay, that one was called out. 17 to 7. Ridgeland. Okay, well, Barton saves that point. So it's 17 to 8. They got the serve. But again, the math isn't working for them. They need to string a couple of consecutive points together. They're just not doing it. It's 18 to 8. That 10-point cushion that Ridgeland built up earlier is holding up. Okay, it's 18 to 10. They're just not digging deep enough into that deficit, though. And that one flies astray, so it's 19 to 10. $20 to 10 now. Ridgeland in firm control of this one. (22-11). I think the general story of this game is going to be that Ridgeland got off to that big 10-1 lead and has maintained that gap. 22-11 now. Ridgeland has a lot shorter way to go to 25 than Barton does at this point. And it's 23-11. So these teams may end up being tied one apiece when this game is said and done. Okay, it's 23-12. Barton's got to string together a couple of points here. Well, actually, 10 points if they're going to make this competitive. (23-13), that 10-point lead still holding up. (23-14). My goodness, Barton really needed this earlier in the game. And that serve goes astray. It's 24-14. So this is serving for this game here. Well, 24-15, but I think Barton's got too big of a hole now. And there we go. Ridgeland prevails in this one, 25-15. And we've got another break between games, so we will take a break and listen to our commercial sponsors.
A Helena World's presentation of Barton Championship Volleyball is brought to you by these fine sponsors. The Bell Clinic, specializing in family medicine for all of Phillips County. This webcast also brought to you courtesy of Reginald Murdoch for State Senate. Reggie Murdoch running for State Senate, District 9, with 12 years of public service, working for you. The Helena World's presentation of Barton Championship Volleyball is brought to you by these fine sponsors. The Bell Clinic, specializing in family medicine for all of Phillips County. This webcast also brought to you courtesy of Reginald Murdoch for State Senate. Reggie Murdoch running for State Senate, District 9, with 12 years of public service working for you. The Helena World's presentation of Barton Championship Volleyball is brought to you by these fine sponsors. The Bell Clinic, specializing in family medicine for all of Phillips County. This webcast also brought to you courtesy of Reginald Murdoch for State Senate. Reggie Murdoch running for State Senate, District 9, with 12 years of public service working for.
And we are back at the Barton Gymnasium for more of Barton Championship Volleyball. We've got Ridgeland serving again now. This is game 3. Both teams have won a game each. For the most part, these have been very good and competitive games. Right now, though, Ridgeland takes the early 1-0 lead. And I guess what Barton can't afford is another situation like they were in the last game where they were 10-1 and they just never caught up. It's 1-1 now. So can Barton go on their own string of points here and put together something that will enable them to have a lead? Well, that one goes into the net, though, so we will revert back to Ridgeland. 2-1. And this has been a bit of a turnaround from what we saw in the early games. Three to 1. And this just becomes a deep hole. Not as deep as the one we saw last game, but certainly it is a hole for Barton to dig out of. Four to 1 now, and this is what happened in game 2. Barton needs to make a stop here. Five to 1. And if you remember the last game, again, Ridgeland had a 10-1 lead before Barton turned it around. Okay, well, it's going to be 5-2 now, so at least Barton has a chance to make this respectable. Appear to have a light flickering over here in the Barton Gymnasium. Not really sure why the light is flickering. That's a bit interesting. Six to 2 now, by the way. Ridgeland over Barton in this particular game. Okay, at 6 to 3, and Barton is improving their performance in this game, but they still need to dig out of this deficit situation. maybe they can do so here. Well, that point goes to Ridgeland, 7-3. Eight to 3 game now. Ridgeland serving. That point awarded to Barton. 9-5 game. Still in favor of Ridgeland, but Barton serving. Nine to 6. Now, this is the kind of Barton effort we expected in the last game. They're making it in this game, and they're gonna make this go down to the wire. At least we hope they do. Okay, we seem to have both teams off the court. I guess it was a timeout I missed, but be that as it may, we can take a minute to remind you that you're watching Barton, the Lady Bears, play Ridgeland. Ridgeland is the team on the right side of your screen as you're watching the action. They're in the black jerseys with the white numbers. Barton is on the left side of your screen. They're in the maroon jerseys with the black trim and the white numbers. And it's 9-8, and this is the kind of tight game we've seen for most of the evening. And this is Barton's big chance to perhaps take the lead. They've certainly tied it up. It's 9-9. This is game 3. Each team has won a game. Senior high action. We have a 10-10 contest here at the Barton Gymnasium. This is Rick Kennedy for Barton Championship Volleyball. Right now, though, we have Ridgeland serving. It's 11 to 10 now. Ridgeland serving again. It's 12 to 10. It seems like as soon as Barton got the lead, just for that 1 moment, Ridgeland woke up and has reasserted itself again. 12 to 10. But Barton wins that one, so it's 11 to 12. We'll see if Barton can get the lead back now. Of course, I guess they have to tie it first, so let's see if they can tie it. Apparently not. That ball flew away, so it's 13 to 11. And Ridgeland will be serving. $14 to 11 now. Barton somewhat losing a foothold here. Ridgeland stretching out the advantage, which is what they did in the last game. That one, though, has appeared to have flown out of bounds, so it's 12 to 14. That point awarded to Barton. And the Lady Bears up for the serve again. $16 to 12. Ridgeland on the move here. $16 to 13. And that one seems to have flown away, so that's going to be 17 to 13 Ridgeland. Thought Barton may have had a chance there. $18 to 13. Ridgeland starting to close in on that 20-point mark. $19 to 13. And once you get to 20, you start talking about closing in on the game. But maybe not quite yet. 19 to 14. Now it's 20-14, so Ridgeland has made it to that 20-point threshold. Barton's still 5 points away. It's 20-15. Can Barton put together a string of points now? Well, that's a good start. 20-16. Twenty to 17, and the Lady Bears are making a late charge to their credit. Twenty to 18 now. Twenty to 19, and Barton is 1 point out of digging themselves out of this hole. And again, we're seeing another close and competitive game. We have a timeout. Coaches want to talk it over. And I would presume the Ridgeland folks really want to talk this over. They've blown now up to a 6-point lead, and it's had its gaps, but right now Barton has closed the gap completely. It's 20 to 19, and Barton on the edge of tying this game. It's 20 to 20. Okay, 21 to 20. So again, Ridgeland has put the brakes on Barton, at least temporarily. 22-20. We have a 22-22 score. And again, these two teams are very evenly matched. (23-22). The Lady Bears have staged a huge comeback here. 24-22. A very impressive showing. Okay, it's 24-23. This one is going to go down to the wire again. Very much resembling the first game. (24-24) tie. So we're going to have some kind of extra points here because you got to win by 2. (25-24) now. Favor of the Lady Bears. Can they pull this off? (26-24), and apparently the Lady Bears have won this one. So, score that one for the Lady Bears, a surprising comeback. Lady Bears showing a lot of muscle and a lot of fortitude as well. We're going to take a quick break for our commercial sponsors and be back with more of Barton Championship Volleyball.
The world's presentation of Barton Championship Volleyball is brought to you by these fine sponsors. The Bell Clinic, specializing in family medicine for all of Phillips County. This webcast also brought to you courtesy of Reginald Murdoch for State Senate. Reggie Murdoch running for State Senate, District 9, with 12 years of public service working for you. The Helena World's presentation of Barton Championship Volleyball is brought to you by these fine sponsors. The Bell Clinic, specializing in family medicine for all of Phillips County. This webcast also brought to you courtesy of Reginald Murdoch for State Senate. Reggie Murdoch running for State Senate, District 9, with 12 years of public service working for you. The Helena World's presentation of Barton Championship Volleyball is brought to you by these fine sponsors. The Bell Clinic, specializing in family medicine for all of Phillips County. This webcast also brought to you courtesy of Reginald Murdoch for State Senate. Reggie Murdoch running for State Senate, District 9, with 12 years of public service working for you. The Helena World's presentation of Barton Championship Volleyball is brought to you by these fine sponsors. The Bell Clinic, specializing in family medicine for all of Phillips County. This webcast also brought to you courtesy of Reginald Murdoch for State Senate. Reggie Murdoch running for State Senate, District 9, with 12 years of public service working.
And we're back with you with more Barton Championship Volleyball. We are in Game 4. Barton has a 7-4 lead. And we are proceeding on with the action. Some of the crowd that was here earlier has left as we've gotten later into the evening. This is Thursday, September 22nd, and this is Barton playing Game 4 with the Ridgeland team that's serving right now. It's 8-5 in favor of Barton. Barton has a lead in games, by the way, 2-1, and this is Game 4. If Barton can emerge here, they'll win the series. And this was a Ridgeland team that last year was district champions. Might be fair to ask if we're going to see a changing of the guard here tonight, although it's 8-7, and Ridgeland is serving now. That one goes astray, though, so it's 9-7 in favor of Barton, the Barton Bears. Nine to 8. So here comes Ridgeland again. Ten to 8 in favor of Barton. This is Game 4. A bit earlier this evening, we may have had close to 100 people in here. We probably have about 70 right now, so our crowd has diminished somewhat. But the great action continues. It's 12-9 Barton. Barton has definitely seized the momentum here. Perhaps enough momentum to win the game. Of course, perhaps I spoke too soon there. 12-10. Ridgeland gets the serve back. But again, a fine competitive contest, as most of these games have been. Barton, to its credit, though, has made a statement, no matter what, that they have arrived. Of course, both of these teams went to the state tournament last year. We expected that we would see two fine quality teams here But Barton has been resilient and has made comebacks. They're ahead 14-10 now, and they have a chance to win this series. And that would be a huge feather in the program's cap. The program led by Chastin Carpino. She has certainly rebuilt things for sure. It's 15-10 in favor of Barton. Appears to have been some other delay here now. The Lady Warriors now apparently called a timeout. They're back now on the court. Well, Ridgeland won that point. It's 15-12 as they serve. Thirteen to 15. Ridgeland scores again, and now they're looking to close the gap. Could they pull off a victory here? 15-14. On the verge of a tie. Okay, and we have a timeout in the action. It's 15-14. This is game 4 of a series between Barton and Ridgeland. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
The world's presentation of Barton Championship Volleyball is brought to you by these fine sponsors. The Bell Clinic, specializing in family medicine for all of Phillips County. This webcast also brought to you courtesy of Reginald Murdoch for State Senate. Reggie Murdoch running for State Senate, District 9, with 12 years of public service working for you. The Helena World's presentation of Barton Championship Volleyball is brought to you by these fine sponsors. The Bell Clinic, specializing in family medicine for all of Phillips County. This webcast also brought to you courtesy of Reginald Murdoch for State Senate. Reggie Murdoch running for State Senate, District 9, with 12 years of public service working for you. The Helena World's presentation of Barton Championship Volleyball is brought to you by these.
And we're back to action now. It's 17-14 in favor of the Barton Lady Bears. And the Lady Bears just scored another point. It's 18-14. This would be a huge victory in the caps of the Lady Bears if they can pull this off. 18-14. $18 to 15 now. Ridgeland attempting to come back. 18-16. And I guess we should have known that Ridgeland was not going to go away without a fight. It's 18-17, and here we go again. Things tightening up. It's an 18-18 tie. And now the Ridgeland Lady Warriors appear to have the momentum. There's some kind of dribbling going on. Not quite sure what this delay is involved, but apparently there was a timeout called. It's an 18-18 game now. It's 19-18. Can the Ridgeland team steal one here? And if they do steal one, we'll go to a deciding game 5. And we have gone to our extra camera here, as one of our camera batteries has malfunctioned. So we will bring you the action as long as we can maintain it. We will try to get you back to the upper camera as soon as possible. Right now, though, these two teams playing very competitive. Looks like they're going to play for a 5th game. These volleyball games go to the best of 5. And right now it's 23-18 in favor of Ridgeland. And Ridgeland serving now. That one goes into the net. So maybe Barton has a chance here. And we are back with our coverage of Barton Championship Volleyball. We had a camera malfunction. We have used an emergency camera, so we will bring you the end of this game as it unfolds. So the last we left it, it was a tie, and right now it's a tie. It's 6-6 in a deciding game 5. It is now 7-6 in a deciding game 5. So we've had a lot of excitement here at the Barton Gymnasium. And it's 7-7, and as you would expect, these teams being very evenly matched are just literally going tit for tat at this point. 7-7 now. It's now 9-7 in favor of Barton. And it would appear that we're going to have a timeout. So we're going to hear from our sponsors real quick and be right back with more Barton Championship Volleyball.
Helena World's presentation of Barton Championship Volleyball is brought to you by these fine sponsors. The Bell Clinic, specializing in family medicine for all of Phillips County.
And we're back with more Barton Championship Volleyball. We're in the 5th and deciding game here at the Barton Gymnasium between Barton and Ridgeland. It's 10-7 Barton. Each team has won 2 games. These are the senior girls. And Barton right now has the momentum. 11-7. It's 11-8 now. And like a lot of these games, you have a feeling that these two evenly matched teams, that it's going to go down to the wire. Ridgeland is serving now. It's 11-8. Twelve to 8 now in favor of Barton. And for those of you who didn't know, we're here at the Barton Gymnasium watching all the action. It's 12-4. 12-9, pardon me. And Ridgeland is serving. Twelve to 10. This has truly been one of those rock'em sock'em affairs between two evenly matched teams. But Barton won that point. It's 13 to 10. Two of the best teams in the state. And they're playing right here tonight at the Barton Gymnasium. 13-11. Thirteen to 12, and Ridgeland now is making its move for a comeback. Fourteen to 13 now. And you get the feeling that this one is just going to be a nail biter, and we may see a 24-24 game at the end of this one. 15 to 13 now in favor of the Lady Bears of Barton. Again, we have a 2-2 tie in games. This is a fifth and deciding game. We're deep into Thursday night. And we have the referee going to the referee's table. And they have called the scoreboard. So let's see what has happened here now. Have they apparently called this game? The referees are having a discussion at the table. Barton was winning 15 to 13 at the time play stopped. And apparently the officials have ended the game, so not quite sure what this is about. But we will hear from our sponsors and attempt to find out what has happened.
Helena World's presentation of Barton Championship Volleyball is brought to you by these fine sponsors. The Bell Clinic, specializing in family medicine for all of Phillips County. This webcast also brought to you courtesy of Reginald Murdoch for State Senate. Reggie Murdoch running for State Senate, District 9, with 12 years of public.
Okay, we're back at the Barton Gymnasium to wrap up this edition of Barton Championship Volleyball. We've been told that Barton has been awarded the game, so that means they win game, set, and match here on the Barton Championship Volleyball. So Barton defeats Ridgeland. The final game was 15 to 13, and the officials called it. Perhaps they called it for time. I don't know. But Barton wins. So that concludes our coverage of Barton Championship Volleyball. We will see you again next week when Barton meets Cedar Ridge.
World's presentation of Barton Championship Volleyball is brought to you by these fine sponsors. The Bell Clinic, specializing in family medicine for all of Phillips County. This webcast also brought to you courtesy of Reginald Murdoch for State Senate. Reggie Murdoch running for State Senate, District 9, with 12 years of public service working for you.